to happen tonight, because it's going to be as loud as anything and as frightening as anything you've ever heard, and then it's going to be gone, and it's going to be gone in about the same time frame of about 6 hours till it's essentially over, and I expect that by mid-afternoon tomorrow we'll have sunshine. We may have sunshine by early afternoon. This is a fantastic question that you were talking about, barricades that are lined up, construction barricades. I'll tell you, if I were living in a house, or if I had a business and the county, or I don't care who it is, had a bunch of barricades in front of my property, those barricades wouldn't be there. It's 7:07 now. Those barricades have gone about 7:10, I'd say. Because I don't care whose fault it is that those barricades are there. Somebody's going to have to move them, and I just don't think it's going to be the county or any sort of officialdom at this point that's going to do that. I would be out protecting my property anyway I knew how.
I'm going to surf until the cops come and drag me out of the water.
Obviously, some people out there have not heeded the warnings and have not done some of the things that we've been suggesting that they do foolishly.
Let me say something about what that guy just said. The cops are not going to come drag him out of the water. The cops do not care if that person lives or dies at that point. The cops are out there to service and to serve people that are acting responsibly. The gentleman said that he was going to, his time might be up, his time might very well be up. The way the system is set up, and this is absolutely the way it's going to work, no police officer, no fire department, no Coast Guard, no nobody is going to jeopardize their lives for people that decide too late to get out. You are on your own, and we have a system in place, and the system is working with buses in both counties rolling around and around and around and around to pick you up. You may have to do a little work to find them, but that is available to you, and that's what you've got to do, and you're the only one that's got to do it, and nobody's going to come get you if you don't. We're going to have this intense core part of the storm. It's a very small hurricane compared to Hurricane Hugo, for instance, which was somewhat larger, compared to the 1926 storm that devastated South Florida, from all the way from Homestead to Deerfield Beach.
But
this is smaller.
Right.
But the core of it that is intense is more intense than either of those storms. It's stronger than either Hugo or the 1926 storm. So it's going to do major, beyond major, devastating, it'll be devastating action in the part of South Florida, in Dade or Broward County, where that core is going to affect. In fact, it's not even, the core is not as big as either county.
How much rain can we expect in this?
I don't think we're going to have much more than 5 inches of rain here. If we have 5 inches, it's going to be in isolated spots. I don't think this is going to be a rainy system, mainly because it's moving so fast.
We decided, let's get inside somewhere where we can be substantially safe.
All right, Ed, I'll tell you what, I think maybe we need to move on here to our situation here. You certainly stay safe there, and my recommendation would be that you stay exactly where you are until there is daylight there where you can see what the threat is. And maybe even by tomorrow afternoon that we'll have some flights going from the Bahamas back here, depending on what the condition of our airport is here.
I got 2 little dogs. I would not take them no place, and I don't, you know, they would die, and I want to stay with them.
You're staying because of your dogs?
Yes.
These are heavy-duty houses. They've been built in 1951. They've survived hurricane.
So here we are, just a half a block from the bay, and we found a dozen houses on this one street alone where people are not evacuating. One man just said to me, "What's the worst that could happen? I'll get wet." And that is the unfortunate attitude of a lot of people. Back to you.
I used to live in Morningside up until about 2 years ago, and some of those are my neighbors there. And I want to talk to you folks because I know some of you people there. You're acting foolishly for the sake of being together. Go be together in the shelter. Come back tomorrow. If your house is there, it's still going to be fine. You're not going to be able to do any good.
Okay, you suspect because you're inland that you're not going to receive the brunt of the storm.
But it's going to be insignificantly less. Again,
exactly.
There's 2 things that are going to happen. First of all, along the coast, indeed, the winds will probably be strongest. But as we've said, time after time, it's not the strong winds that break the windows that destroy homes. Okay, it's not the strong winds. It's the debris in the wind.
Projectiles.
It's the projectiles. It's little bits of anything. There is no way you could go clean up your entire neighborhood. There is no way. It's impossible for you to get everything out of your neighborhood that the wind is going to pick up. You're just not going to be able to do that. So you are going to have little pebbles, stones, pieces of someone else's roof a mile away, anything caught in that wind stream. And the fact is that the further inland you go, the more time the wind has to pick that up. We can, I think, certainly say without question, this is going to be the most expensive natural disaster ever to hit the United States. In major hurricanes, there are plenty of photographs, I wish I had one handy to show you, of 2x4s going all the way through a palm tree. Now, that's not a common thing, but if a 2x4 gets picked up just right in the wind and it's sailing along end on, whatever it hits, it's going through it. If it hits your front door, it's going through it. If it hits a shutter, many shutters, it might very well go through that. So there are no guarantees in a storm with 140-mile-an-hour winds.
Let's see our next Jose Marti Middle School on 24th Avenue.
Okay, this is in Hialeah. Those are Hialeah numbers now, and I always have to think real hard when I get into Hialeah numbers, but this is the equivalent of about 79th Street, because you add 54 blocks.
Right. You can go down 103rd and then go north, right?
Or this would be the equivalent of 79th Street, around the equivalent of 79th Street in terms of Dade County numbers, and I think the 57 there refers to Red Road. So
we're both confused in Hialeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know who thought of that in Hialeah, but I hope they're not living anymore.
It's been a long day, hasn't it, Brian?
It's been a long day. Bob, did you ever think this was going to happen?
No, and I always hoped it would not happen, but knew the day was going to come when it would.
Right, we've talked about it many times. All right. Thank you, Bob. We'll keep going back to you as often as we can here, as long as we can.
Okay.
We would like to think that we could solve this problem, you know? I mean, we really would. And some problems, hopefully, for people out there, we have solved through this whole process, but we can't solve the big one, as we can't keep this thing from happening, you know? Look how on that upper left side of the eye, how quickly it falls off from yellow to dark green to light green in very short order. I mean, in maybe a period of a distance of 10 miles there, it falls off dramatically. So you can see that within sight almost of where you could have a significant destruction, you could have maybe minimal destruction.
Hurricane Andrew now nears the shore of southeast Florida at this hour. The center of the hurricane is located about 40 miles due east of Miami.
What we want to have happen is when you see us move and you're watching us, we want you to move to your safe spot and stay with us on Y100, and we're going to stay with you as long as we can. If you folks down in an evacuation zone that did not leave in South Dade County, especially near the bay and Cutler Ridge, places like that, it's time for you to very, very closely examine your house and figure out a place in the inside section, but give yourself a chance. Don't lock yourself in anywhere, because if that water starts rising, you may have to fend for your life here if you're close to the bay in South Dade County, because that is where the water is going to come in a big, big way. I think if I were in those areas and I did not evacuate, I would be making a large pile of furniture that I could get on top of and get as close to the ceiling as possible if that water starts rising in your house. Now is the time to pile up the furniture if you're near Biscayne Bay, anywhere in Dade County, and know how you're going to get higher. Higher, I think, is going to be the bottom line. But if you have someplace to go, you need to go this absolute second.
And again, Brian, it's important to say that if the police officers are being told to not hit the streets, this is virtually almost too late, really.
It really is, and I want to phrase that carefully to say that if it were me and I had been careless enough to not heed the warnings earlier, thinking it wasn't going to happen, friends, it is going to happen now for Dade County. Now, once the storm goes even further inland, this intense part of the storm is going to go through Coral Gables, and it's going to go through Coconut Grove, and it's going to go inland into the Kendall area, and it's going to be very, very bad all the way west, as far west as this county goes. Tell me when we're back on the air, John.
Okay.
Oh, we understand we are back up.
Okay, well, now we're back on Channel 4. Let me say this so that everybody gets out their radio. Get your radio tuned now to Y100, because in spite of the fact we lost power at Channel 4 here very temporarily, we were on the air on Y100 through that whole event, and we will stay on the air as long as possible. John Lugring, we need to speed this to completion. in here, okay? Why don't we plan to make the switch over in there at 3:30? Would that be all right?
We're talking about a safe area for the station where we will retreat, and we're going to try to get a television camera in there.
We have
definitely
the
a
television,
microphone.
John, and Bruce Carter have set up a television camera in there. We're going to get Tony Segreto is going to get set up over in there. It's a concrete area. Explain storm surge again and when this is going to happen. Okay, we will do that because that is what the bottom line of this thing is going to be.
We talked about our area where we are going to go in a cement enclosed area. We have a remote camera. John Lugering over here.
You're up.
You're up. Why don't you go back? I think Tony Segreto is standing by in the center where we will go. As you can see.
Yes, I'm in here, Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can't see you yet, but we're getting there. I don't know if there's proper lighting in there so we can see.
Well, let's put it this way. There's lighting in there, but it's not exactly the kind of lighting we're used to.
Here comes John Lugering, and yeah, here we are. And we are in, as you both indicated, the safest part of this building.
If you're in a home that does not have covered windows on every single window, know where that interior place is now. That if this thing starts really coming in where you are, and it's going to happen in Dade County, and it may happen everywhere here, know where you're going to go. Am I hearing?
Can start, yeah.
We can hear it now here outside. All right, let's go ahead. Yeah, it's coming in those surges that we're talking about, and this is why I said that when I started seeing this green here, that was the time for us to make our move here because we're right there in downtown Miami now. John, where do we stand with everybody in the building? Are we ready to move in there?
Oh, yeah.
Are we all set to move in there? How about the folks in the control room? Are we just going to leave the control room punched up? I mean, I'd rather...
Don't know yet.
Okay, well,
yeah, you can start to hear it now.
I would rather not have folks well, why would we threaten anybody's life here? This is... there's
just
no
leave it,
reason
I would think, just leave it punched
leave
up.
Leave it on the switcher, and then if something happens, we're on the radio. But the big stuff is just now coming into Dade County, and it will come all the way across the county. And the monster stuff is going to be a central Dade County event.
Okay. Well, we talked about making the move. Do you think about certainly anybody who is in our building? Now is the time. The center that we're talking about is directly behind the studio. Again, this is all cement enclosed. It is on the second floor.
We're on the second floor of the building. And we have cement above us. We have cement in every direction except for on this studio wall here. Are we? So you feel good here, John? That that you're ready to go? All right.
What about the folks in the control room? Is this a go at this point?
I got the word from the control room that they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Whenever we are ready to go. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we get our maps together? Right. And why don't you folks at home do the same? We have our monitors up in there, John. Okay, great. We'll get our maps together so that we can continue with specific information. And theoretically, we're going to be set to be in exactly the same situation in there that we are here. And just hold on here just a second. I've had these maps for a long time, and we're not going to lose any stupid hurricane.
The map properly, even as a Category 4 hurricane is making its way toward us. Right.
We can hear it clearly. I know you folks at home can't hear it, but clearly we can hear it outside. Let me see. I'm all wireless. I'll tell you what, maybe, Raphael, you could find a couple batteries here to bring in here as we go in here so that we don't run out of power. Although we're going to, I guess Tony has a mic in here that we can use no matter what happens battery-wise.
Here we are, Brian. We're all set. We're all set. I'll tell you what, this is the safest spot, without a doubt, here at the station. As you mentioned, it is all cement enclosed.
I'll tell you what, Tony, if you want to stand up, yeah. I think that'll be a little more comfortable after a period of time here. We'll put this sleep in. No, I think that's going to be okay. Why don't we put it for other folks? We're going to have a good crowd in here. Not only do we have our WTVJ people here, but we also have a lot of NBC people that are covering this disaster in the making here for the nation and the world, and they operate out of WTVJ, and we're going to have them in here too. Does anybody know what that sound was that we heard up above us here just a moment ago? That was a very interesting sound.
Sounded as if something dropped on the roof, didn't it?
It's exactly what it sounded like. Yes.
Maybe we can punch that radar back up.
Why don't we just leave that shot up? And Did I just hear that sound again?
Yeah, I did too.
I would feel a lot more comfortable, you folks in the control room, if you would just leave that shot up there and come on down and join us. And then if we evaluate here, if we lose it or something and we evaluate that it's going to be safe for you to go up there and make some sort of correction, then we'll do it at that time. I think we can say that this narrow band of serious damage is going to come ashore at Coral Gables and south. It looks clearly, if this thing continues, unless it does something here at the very last second, it's going to come ashore at Coral Gables and south.
So we're talking also about, as you mentioned earlier, Coconut Grove.
Well, if you go, if you know that area and then you go due east from there, you're talking about South Miami, Kendall, down including Homestead and Florida City. That's going to be the most key part, the most destructive part of the storm. When we get out to Dinner Key, I imagine we're going to have major damage with all those boats because I'm sure that the winds there are going to be 100 miles per hour plus, before this thing is over, and those boats are not going to be able to withstand that. But in terms of where we see, as a matter of fact, I think on the top edge of that donut, now you see red in there. Remember, we just saw orange before, now you see red. And the red now is a level up yet higher again, a VIP level higher again. Right.
Would that be like VIP 4?
VIP 5 now. Orange is 4 and red is 5. And it's right on the bay front at this point. Now, the most intense part of the storm, the most intense part of the storm is just north of that northern part of the eye, and it is coming ashore now over Key Biscayne, I would say, although it's very hard to know if it goes up quite that far, but over the southern part of Coral Gables, Gables Estates, and the Cocoa Plum area of Sunset Drive as you go all the way east, and the Cocoa Plum. I wonder what has happened to our radar. We may have just lost our connection. All right, I'll tell you what, let's lose the radar, and Brian Allen, who's is vital in helping us in there, is going to try and get us the Palm Beach radar where we can get it closer. I'll tell you what, Brian, why don't you go ahead and give Miami a try first just to see if maybe they've gotten their problems worked out at the Hurricane Center. But as we saw there, they are getting the very northern fringe of the worst part of this storm. So the radar on top of that building just may not survive.
There was a tremendous, I don't know how to describe it. It almost sounded like a brick wall hit this building. And Dr. Sheets said at the time, something big has gone off the roof, and we think it's that huge ball that you see as you drive down Dixie Highway that is the radome.
Bob, I can tell you, we were watching the Miami radar when it happened here, and I said at the time, something has just gone seriously wrong with the Miami radar.
You saw it, we felt it.
You appeared to be at the very northern edge of the eye wall.
Right, we're right in the eye wall there. We've got our other radars working, our Doppler radar out of the Cape. Yeah, we're watching that. We still have that operating, but we've had to shut down some of our equipment. Of course, then our radar went out. And the building is shaking right now, as a matter of fact.
Is that right? And this is going to continue west, just because you are inland in those areas, in Kendall, all the way out to the Everglades. Do not think, boy, we can hear the sound out there really now, can't we? Do not think that you are in any way safe if you have not hunkered down and got that mattress over you, friends. This is the time to do it. Get to that interior closet, get a mattress over your head, get your family in there, and just wait this thing out. You know, it's chilling that the things we just sat here and talked about a couple hours ago are happening in almost precise detail. You should see improvement there soon, but you're still right on the edge of that core. And believe it or not, Bob, you have not seen the worst of this, according to our analysis of the radar here. The worst of it, we believe, is actually just south of you.
Remember your window demonstration, though, Brian. We can't imagine there are any more windows left on any other floors of this building. As you know, the Hurricane Center is the only floor of this building that has hurricane shutters, and we have lost a window on this floor, even with shutters.
Before we do that, Brian, I understand we have another woman on the phone.
Stand by in South Miami here. We have someone else on the phone who's in dire straits.
Whose roof just caved in. Hello?
Yes.
Where are you?
At 137 and 111th Street.
And what happened?
And half the roof went in.
So
I want to know if we should open a window and let the...
No, don't worry about opening windows here. Where are you in the house compared to the part where the roof caved in?
In the middle. So
All right.
we're okay.
Here's what I want you to do.
Side.
I want you to stay exactly where you are. Okay?
And they shouldn't try to do anything else, right?
Nobody should go out. You are not out of the storm yet. That the storm is going to be with you for some time yet.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Okay, because our door went into.
I understand.
But the door is okay now.
Okay, I understand. But you need to...
Grandma.
You need to do everything you can do to barricade that door. In the what room are you in the house?
The one, like the middle room, bedroom.
Middle bedroom?
Should we go in the bathroom?
Well, I hesitate to tell you to go out of that room because we don't know what the conditions are like outside that room, do we?
It's not so bad because the